Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing.
All right. Testing 1, 2, 3. I can hear it.
Wake everybody up.
We'll let people get seated, and then we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do introductions to the board. I'm the interim president. To my right is interim VP. To my left is the treasurer, Dave. And then we have interim secretary, Chris. Interim assistant secretary and treasurer, Mary. Finance director, Sally. And assistant finance director, Ann. New members and news about members. We don't have anything.
Not since the last meeting.
Yeah, nothing since the last meeting. Do you have something? Okay. Approval of the May 26th membership meeting minutes. There was no changes to the minutes, so minutes will be approved. Can I get a motion to approve minutes for May's meeting?
I move that they be approved.
Okay.
Ram, what were your names?
Simmons.
In the second?
Who seconded? Bart?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to reports. President's report. Our last board meeting Tuesday, the board approved to accept the bid from Restoration Pruning for $9,832.51 to have some trees removed and a bunch of pruning done around the lagoons. Yep.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and did you get about my tree, about the tree? It's the pine tree, Bill.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
VP report.
The only thing I have is, since our last meeting, May meeting, we had 6 new site improvement permits. And so now we're up to a total of 13 site improvements that are active, and we completed 2 of them. So people are improving their lots, so it's good.
Okay, and I was told no other board members had a report except for Dave. And Dave's gonna go over the budget for next year.
Okay, hopefully you can all see this. Let me get my screen cleared here a bit. Is that showing up? It's pretty good, okay. So we're gonna present the preliminary budget, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a background. And this is gonna be a high-level view. We're not gonna go into every little figure. We'd be here all afternoon. There's a lot to cover today, so we're gonna try to move along pretty quickly. Again, I'm only gonna cover major categories. I will be available after the meeting if anybody wants to come up and talk or have any follow-up questions or concerns. And hang on, we're going to adjust the screen here so that it can be seen a little better. Okay? All right. So, we are proposing no dues increase for this year, this coming year. So, you're going to, we had to do some creative work to make that happen. And I just want to let you know that that's the case. So I want to introduce you to the committee members, and then we'll talk about how we develop the budget, and then we'll go through the expense and the revenue budgets, and we'll talk about the balances. These are the committee members. I'm really thankful for their help. Cindy Freeman, Deborah Gurney, Diane Sellinger, and John Smith. The 4 of them really helped out. We went through a lot of effort to put this together, and you can thank them for the fact that there's no dues increase, because they worked really hard, and we had some interesting and spirited discussion. So they did a good job. So when we developed the budget, okay, the committee drafted a preliminary budget, and we distribute that and we posted it. And we're going to talk about that today as our preliminary budget. And we'll get any input from you after the meeting, and we'll make whatever changes as approved, and we'll then release the proposed budget, which is actually what we vote on. I don't anticipate there'll be many changes, if any. There rarely have been, but we do want to allow for some feedback in case you think we missed something major. And then you'll vote on the proposed budget in September, and if it's approved, it will become the adopted budget. And starting in October 1st of this year, we will live with that budget. Okay? So when we look at expenses, these are the major categories, and we're comparing 2026 to 2027. Okay. Our employee expenses go up about $8,000. Our utilities are going up $16,000, and that's primarily because every one of our major utilities, that's water, sewer, electricity, and sanitation, all have major increases, anywhere from 6.5% all the way up to 13%. And it nets out to about a 10% increase in utilities. So we went up about $17,000 or almost $18,000 a year. Our association expenses went down a little bit. Office expenses went up a little bit. That's our supplies and our ongoing activities. Operations went way up because we're doing a lot more repairs now and things. Maintenance and repairs, you see there. And program expenses weren't budgeted last year, but they are this year. And that includes things like the Monday morning coffee, the creamer in the coffee, and all the like that goes for that. So our total budget on the expense side is going from $382,647 to $410, which is a pretty substantial increase, almost $28,000. And if you look at where our expenses are, we're not a typical organization, most organizations, places where you may have worked, between 70 and 80% of your budget there would have been for employees, salaries, benefits, whatever. But here, our major expense, almost 50%, is this orange area, and that's for utilities. We spend a fortune on utilities. Then we have our association expenses. That includes taxes, property insurance, liability insurance, property taxes, things like that. And then we do have our employee expenses over here, which is slightly less than 25%, and then a couple of minor ones, association, office, and operations. So that gives you an idea where the money goes. When we look at our employee expenses, okay, our gross payroll expense is actually going to go down next year, and I'll explain that in just a second. We still have the same employees, but then we have something called employee benefits, which is a new category this year, which we're separating out. And what we're doing there is we're going to try to offer our employees some benefits to be more competitive, specifically when we have to go replace Tom. We know we're going to have a benefits package of some kind or other. So we're trying to ease into that now. And so the association is partially funding this, and Tom is partially funding it by taking a reduction in pay to make up this $10,800. So it's a kind of contribution on both sides to do that. Our payroll taxes go up a little bit. Employee fuel has gone up because we didn't adjust that in the past for the cost of living. And as you all know, the cost of gasoline and diesel went through the roof this year. And then the cell phone expense. So that's going up about $8,000 just to cover that. Utilities, here's the big one I was talking about. Electricity, we know, is going up 6.8%. Sanitation is going up. Now, the advantage we have here is that these don't necessarily all go up on October 1st, thank heavens. Some of them are delayed into the year, so we don't know exactly when they're going to go up. But the net effect is it will be about $16,000 more. Our association expenses, I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see here, this is what it costs to run the association. And it includes the big ones, our taxes, our depreciation, our commitment to the reserve fund, and our insurance. And those we definitely have to continue paying. So they're actually going down a little bit because we're not going to fund the capital asset replacement fund anymore like we used to. It is so large now that it can be funded through depreciation only. So that'll be good. It's got over $400,000 in it. We've done a good job of saving up for things. Let's talk about revenue. That's the other side of the equation. And as you can see, we're not changing the revenue income because we're not raising the dues. So this really doesn't change all that much. But you can also see the vast majority of our revenue coming in comes from dues. Everything else is pretty small. And if I drew a chart of that, whoops, I don't have a chart. You'd see just a little sliver for these other two items. So we look at our balance, okay, and if we were to look at the income that we just talked about and the expenses, we'd see that we're short about $32,000. So the question is, since we didn't raise the dues, where's that $32,000 going to come from? Thanks, Bill. We appreciate the donation. So what we did, we have something called retained earnings, okay? And that's money that's left over in the budget from the prior year. And in the past, we used to move that over to the capital asset replacement fund because that fund had so little money in it for so long that we needed to build it up. But as I said, it's been built up now pretty high. So we hung on to that money, and we're going to use that to make up the shortfall in the budget this year so that we don't have to ask you for more money. That's only if we need it. We may not even need to do that, but because we always overestimate expenses and underestimate revenue. So we try to be very conservative in our approach. So again, in summary, proposed dues is $11.50, same as it was last year. Major increases are due to utilities. If you average it out, it's about 10%. We'll use retained earnings last year to cover the remainder of any increased cost if needed, and it may not be needed. So again, if you have any questions on this, please see me after the meeting or email them to me real quickly, and we can resolve it, and I'll be happy to talk with you and explain it to you. And again, I want to thank the Budget Committee, who did really good work on putting this all together. They were stars. Thank you.
Okay, Cheryl and Mary Jo. How many we have signed in? Yep, we're getting that right now.
13, I think.
2, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
15?
Lots.
15 lots.
Did anybody not sign in?
I didn't sign in. Do I count?
Yep, you count.
I haven't signed in.
Yeah, I haven't signed it. I didn't know we were supposed to.
You got 2 more up here. Yes, if you haven't signed in, please do sign in.
So now do we have enough?
Should, yeah.
Yeah. Ann, okay, I just really wanted to thank you. I came in the other day, man, this place was immaculate. I mean, it was beautiful. The ping pong tables and the way that everything was lined up. It looked really nice. And then on top of that, it smelled really good. So I just really want to thank you for that.
Okay, we will go to candidate speeches. And I will be the first one.
You want the weapon?
I want the weapon. My name's Bill. I'm current interim president. I am running for president for this next year. It is a one-year term because president's not due up this year. But I just want to continue doing what we've been doing. The board that we have right now is an awesome board. We're getting some things done to make the park look nicer, get people involved with the events that we're holding. And I'd just like to thank all of you guys for getting involved. We're trying real hard to do it and bring back the stuff that disappeared from COVID. So, yep, I'm just trying to get everything back in order and go from there.
My name's Fred Pylon, and I am the interim vice president, and I am running for the 2-year term that's come up. And one of the things that I want to try to do is I want everybody here that lives here, I want it to be kind of follow the mission statement of what the mission statement is. So that's kind of my goal, is to make it so that it's a very enjoyable place to live. And I know a lot of people enjoy living here because I live here full time. So, and that's one of the reasons why I'm running. I also am looking at a lot of the streamlining of paperwork, stuff like that, as far as what my responsibilities are. So at some point in time when somebody else comes in, they can just take the ball and run and not have an adventure when you're going in there and trying to do stuff. So, and that's all I got.
Hi, I'm Chris Freitag, and I'm an interim, so it's only for 1 year that am trying to get elected. The reason that I'm here, not in Safari, but on the board, is because I think Safari is a great place to live. I came in about 2 years ago, and I think this place is amazing, and I want to give back. So I will give back as a secretary for 1 year if you guys vote me in, and if you don't, that's fine too.
Hello, my name's Sally. I'm your current finance director, and I've been the finance director for 2.5 years. I am running again. The position of finance director is a really fancy name for accounts receivable. I do the billing, and I do the posting of the payments, and I do the collections, and that's pretty much all I do. So I have really busy month, and then not so much for 5 months, and then a really busy month. And this is a really good position for me. You can still travel, you can still enjoy life. You don't have to devote 40 hours a week for this. I agree that I like the current board. I want to support Bill and Fred in their endeavors, and that is why I'm running again. So, hope you vote for me.
Well, I don't need that. I was told I don't need it. I got this one right here. Okay. We're going to... I did. That's up in the top. Okay. We're going to discuss the proposed bylaw changes. And before we get into the bylaw changes, members have voiced their opinion that they want the board to be transparent. So the board is being transparent with the bylaws committee was set up to go through all the bylaws. They went through the bylaws, submitted them to the board. The board looked at them. The board did not do any changes to the proposed bylaw changes. So we are being completely 100% transparent on what the bylaws committee, which is was brought up or made up of 4 members of the membership and 1 board member, which was myself, that oversaw what was going on to make sure that they stayed on track and got it done when they were scheduled to get the bylaw proposed changes to the board. So the first one would be Article 4, Section 5, and it is, the current one states that there are no 2 persons from the same immediate family, including mother, father, brother, sister, spouse, children, or grandchildren, nor the same membership, may serve as a board member at the same time. The change that they're looking at is any member employed by the association in a full-time position. In a full-time position is what's wanting to be changed, and it is replacing as caretaker, or his or her spouse may not serve on the board of directors as long as he or she serves in that capacity. The outgoing president may serve 1 year on the board of directors as an advisor only, and then a change would be with no benefits occurring. Do we have any concerns with that bylaw? Yeah, raise your hand and we'll get a mic to you so everybody can hear.
Yeah, my concern would be anyone who is receiving any type of compensation monetarily, not so it seems like you singled out just that one full-time position. I think it should be anybody that is being compensated monetarily should not be on the board.
Okay.
Anyone else have a question about that?
So you want to take the full time out and just anybody?
Just anybody who is being compensated monetarily.
Okay.
To me, that's a conflict.
Okay. The next one is Article 4, Section 6, the removal of directors. The entire board of directors or any individual director at a special meeting of the membership called for the purpose may be removed from office by majority vote of the general membership. The proposed addition to that is 15 days notice as specified in Article 3, Section 2 must be given to all members and ballots shall be distributed to all members regardless of their in-person attendance. The entire board of directors and or one or more directors are so removed. New directors may be elected at the same meeting, and the removed director or directors are then reverted to the level of general members. Section B, the board of directors may remove a board member from office for the failure to follow the bylaws, having a consecutive unexcused absence from 3 months of board meetings, perform an illegal activity, or provided that the remaining board members vote unanimously in favor of the removal. Number 2, the offending board member be given 7 days written notice of the reason for the removal. And number 3, the member be given the opportunity to address the board on these matters. This removal from the board must be done in an open portion of the board meeting and duly noted in the minutes of the meeting with each board member's vote recorded. Due to privacy issues, this should be handled discreetly, but should not force the affected board member to resign instead of being removed. The removed board member shall not be able to run for office again unless the evidence of wrongdoing has been proven to the board to be false. C, if the evidence of illegal activity performed by a board member can be determined with strong probability, legal action against the board member will be pursued. See Article 2, Section 6 for removal from the association. D, if a board member presents his or her resignation, the board member will be permitted to serve until the resignation date is reached. Said board member should be prepared to serve a total of 60 days prior to the effective resignation date to facilitate a smooth transition if possible. That was a long one. Whew. Any questions on that one? You guys read it? They were sent out, so.
Just quickly, I would take a look at the end of B. End of B, a removed board member shall not be able to run for office again unless evidence of wrongdoing has been proven by the board. I think that should really be up to the membership. Personally, I don't know if the board can say, is that for a time period of 10 years or life? That's really ambiguous.
Okay, so on the,
Very last sentence.
okay. So that one,
Should there be a time frame on that? But to have something as ambiguous as that.
so you want a time frame on how long they cannot run for?
I think that's up for you, the board members, to discuss, but it should be up to the membership if someone should be voted back in again. Should be up to the membership whether someone should be voted back in again in the future.
Are you finished? Okay.
You are finished now.
And then I'll come to you.
I guess I was just looking at that the board, which is made up of how many people?
7.
Seven. If somebody is taken off the board, and then also those 7 people, I don't know, 7 is a very small number representing the whole membership. I kind of think that it's not right, especially since it says failure to follow the bylaws. Well, if it's like something that somebody was looking to get rid of another board member, tried to find something, I don't really know if that really sounds right to me, that 7 people should decide if one person on the board can never run again, or that it seems like the membership should be deciding some of that.
Okay.
So if there was disclosure issues about what the board member did, that you remove them, you would keep that separate from the members. So if the board member did something not up to par, how are you gonna know that they did something that you don't want that on the board? So that makes it, because those things have happened in the past.
I'm just kind of curious what the procedure is that we're going through right now. Are we going to have to vote on these things at the next meeting? Or are there going to be more meetings to discuss this? Or if one person says something, is that going to be written in? So I'm just kind of curious what the procedure is.
Right now, I'm just taking notes.
I think, can I say something?
Go ahead.
I think the one thing is these are rules that the committee did, and we put these in for a vote. So if you do not like the rules that are written here, then you just vote no. I mean, that's kind of the premise, but the information that you're giving back to us is really helpful, because we will have discussion on what was talked about today, and we may end up changing it if it's something that we feel is really relevant to what's going on. So
Mine is, if a board member presents his or her resignation to the board,
Hold the microphone up.
the board member will be permitted to serve until the resignation date is reached. I think ideally,
that sounds wonderful. I do think it should be up to the discretion of the board, because unfortunately, I was on the board when there was some disagreements or dissension between people that wanted to leave, people that were still there, and new people that came. And I felt I was a neutral party. I didn't care about either side, but I got caught in the crossfire. And what happened was, when the new members came, the new board members came, the old board members that were still on, one of them said personally to me, I will never agree with anything they say. I'm going to make their life miserable. And I said, then why be on the board? You know, we're supposed to be here for safari. So unfortunately, there was dissension for months, and then some people decided to resign, and the board members at the time decided to finally let Safari move on and get some work done. They accepted those resignations immediately. I hope that never happens here again. I hope it does. But since I was on that board at that time, to have two people that really did not like other people on the board and to fight every time we got together, that was not good for Safari. So I feel that part should really be up to the board at that time. And I also seen it when someone said, I'm going to give a resignation, the board said, well, can you do it this way so we can ask? And I was one of those people they asked Tammy to be on the board in the interim, because more than likely they'll stay voted in. So we got to choose who we wanted on here. And so I do think that we have to be careful with that, because even with the best of intentions, things can be manipulated sometimes. That's all. Okay? Do you have anything on that one? Yes, sir.
Yeah, my question is about the wording, remaining board member. Is that the person who is trying to be eliminated? And it
on B1, that's the remaining board members.
right. What is the remaining board member? Is that
The board members, so if they were trying to get rid of me, the other 6 would have a vote.
right?
I would not have a vote.
And why that's not unanimous then? And also, innocent until proven guilty, shouldn't they still be able to have a vote?
They wouldn't vote themselves out, though.
That's right. That's
So you
exactly
wouldn't
right.
get
So
a
it should be up to
unanimous
the
vote.
membership, not the board members. That was my point.
Okay.
And then how can it be discreet if it is in an open meeting? Is the discretion meant to mask what the violation is?
It would all depend on so if somebody was stealing money, I wouldn't want them on the board. They would be off
But
immediately.
would there be proof of them stealing money or
There
just an
would-
accusation?
No, there would have to be proof.
Okay.
There would be an investigation into what is happening, and there would have to be hard evidence to prove that that's what's going on.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead, Dave.
I do want to say one thing too, having been president of the association for almost 4 years. When something like this would come up, using the example of somebody stealing money, or we think somebody is stealing money, or something like that, you have to be really careful. You can't broadcast to the world, we're getting rid of so-and-so because we think they stole money. Because right away you now have a legal liability because you've slandered that person. And you've got to be really careful. So a lot of times that stuff is kept very confidential for obvious reasons. You don't want the association to have a lawsuit. So you really can't put down here anything like, well, we're going to tell everybody what's going on, because you don't really want to do that. That's why you elect a board to represent you. So just to be careful about that.
I think what this gentleman's saying, though, and please help me out here, is discreet and open meeting doesn't go hand in hand. It should be discretion within the board.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. We're done with that one.
Okay. The next one we have is, and I forgot to put which article it was. The upkeep of vehicles. And the bylaw reads, section 5, upkeep of vehicles, park models, motorhomes, fifth wheel trailers, travel trailers, or any other types of RVs brought into the park and placed on a site by a member for his or her occupancy must be in good condition and appearance and approved by the board of directors. There was the addition that was added or proposed in by the committee was any extra RVs utilized for living may be brought in subject to setback and fire requirements and board approval. It would be able to remain for no longer than 6 months with board approval. No member shall permit inoperable vehicles to be left on any site unless it is being used as a member's place of residency. Vehicles and boats, they changed should to must be currently licensed and in good working order, kept presentable, and should indicate that the vehicle/boat is in use and not abandoned. The board of directors shall have all other inoperable vehicles towed at the owner's expense.
Behind you.
I have a question. We're zoned or coded as a campground, and I'm thinking Pacific County has rules or whatever. Is there anything in the county or state about campgrounds having 2 units with people living in 2 units on one lot or one space? I'm just wondering if that was ever checked.
Okay. Actually, there is. Legally, you are not allowed to have 2 RVs on a lot, both being used for occupancy. If you're just parking one there because your other one's a park model, let's say, or a unit that's permanently there, and then you have another unit you take out on the road, that's okay, and the county's not going to worry about it. But they do get worried if you have 2 units that are hooked up and people living in both units. And I think we've tried to eliminate that as best we can.
And that would then affect our license coding or whatever.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
So then that would affect our zoning or code
Now,
or whatever?
the code enforcement folks at the county could come in and say, you have to take that second RV out.
Thank you.
That's what they would do.
This one here was put in mainly for people that come in, that are snowbirders, that come in for the summertime. They come in with a motorhome. They park their motorhome on their lot, and they're here for 6, 7 months, and then they go back to wherever they go for the winter time. This one here was on there because if you go up and you look on the section 3 with the use site, they shall not rent, alone, or lease their site to anybody. And then it also states that the rules state that there's you can come in for 30 days, you have to be gone for 30 days. So people that have their RVs, if they have visitors come in, they can come in and they can use that RV for sleeping as an extra place for people to sleep, because as we all know, these park models are tiny and they're hard to get people. If you have people come in visiting, it's hard to find places for them to sleep. So they're allowed to utilize that for sleeping, but it is not hooked up to the sewer or water system. They can hook up to water, but there should not be any sewer system hookup on those, because those are their own personal rigs. They can hook up to electric to keep their batteries up, but they're pulling off of their own, they're paying for their electricity. So,
So is the water and sewage a set price every month, or is it on the usage? Here, is the whole park metered, or is it a?
yes.
It is?
So our water is read out here, and the whole park is on one water main. So the meter is read, and that is charged to the whole park.
I looked at, I live on the corner. I'm the only one there. I mean, I have seven places around me. I have no neighbors. I mean, I have houses, but I have no neighbors. And this is summertime.
Yeah.
I mean, they come in for a few days. I think one or two of them come in for a week. And that's it.
Yeah.
I guess I just thought, are we, when people come in and they have their summertime and they bring in their family and their kids and their RVs, so they bring in an RV and their family's visiting and they're in the RV, that isn't okay?
That
I
is.
mean, but they can't, I mean, so
if
does that
some,
mean
if
that
somebody,
they have to move the RV, or can it be set there all the rest of the time when they're not in it? Or are you talking about that they have to move it out?
so the one is, the 6 months is for snowbirders coming in.
I'm a snowbird, so I'm here about 5 months.
Yes, but if you come in, if you're coming in with a motorhome, and I'll use Don and Jean as an example, they come in with their motorhome, they stay in their park model. Okay, 6 months, they leave and they're gone for 6 months. That is okay to sit there for the 6 months that they're here.
But if you have your family and kids or grandkids come up and they stay for maybe 3 weeks in the summer, that's not okay?
They can do the 30 days in, 30 days out. That's in a different section of the bylaws.
But the RV can't stay there.
The RV can stay for 6 months, as it sets right.
So when I asked if they have to leave after the 6 months,
The RV,
I see a lot of places that have like an extra little place for when they have company.
yeah. They have.
And you want to stop that?
No, it's just approval by the board. They're adding that in so that it can happen, is what they're adding in. So you can bring an RV in for 6 months,
And you
approved
keep
by the
saying
board,
that, and then after the 6 months, that RV has to leave.
unless they come to the board and ask for an extension, and the board approves that
And
extension.
how does the board decide whether that's okay or not okay?
I have no idea right now because we've never ran across it yet.
So why, if
This
it's not a problem, how come we're voting on it?
We didn't do these. The bylaws committee did these.
who's on the bylaws?
You had, your bylaws committee were Louis Jackvani, Mark Krieger, Diane Sellinger, and Patty White.
Do they have a reason why they decided to do it?
Because there was no stipulation, there was nothing in the bylaws that stated that you could bring one in, is why there was nothing there. So they were adding it into the bylaws that you can bring one in for 6 months, up to 6 months. And then if you want it extended, you can come to the board and say, hey, I'm gonna be here for 8 months. Can I leave my motorhome here? Well, yeah, you can leave your motorhome here, and then you're gonna go to Arizona for 4 months. That's,
So does that include full-timers that live here all the time? Can I have, I'm a full-timer, I live here all the time, so I could have another trailer or something put on my lot
You
for
could
somebody
have
to sleep in if they came to visit. And I could leave it there permanently?
I don't
Or do I
think it'd
have
be
to remove it?
permanently.
You don't know?
I don't know on that one. We'd have to look into that one.
I was just going to make a comment about the committee. What the committee does, the bylaw committee, they basically take the bylaws, they read through them all, and they see what they write in, what they think that would possibly need to be added to make things more explanatory for people that are reading them, or not so vague, because some of the bylaws could be vague. So they're taking their time to write in things that they think might be important, so that everybody understands and has more of a black and white of what the bylaws are telling them. So that's why they add stuff, and that's why we have the members voted in, because you, like you're doing today, you're asking questions about why they wrote some of this stuff in the way they did. So they're just, and we just approved them, and now we're bringing it up to the members if you have any questions about that, and which is what you're doing. So
Yeah. One of the bylaw committee members has been attending the meeting via Zoom, and and she said the reason they did this was so that there weren't two units being connected to the sewer system overwhelming it. We pay our sewer systems based on the number of connections that we have in the park. So technically, every lot has one connection, and if you hook up a second unit to another connection that you put in, the Seaview sewer folks could come back and penalize us for that extra connection that they don't know about. So that's why they're putting this in here, to make sure you don't do that kind of stuff.
Can I go back to questions here? I have 3 comments.
So I've lived here for 2 years, and if you go around perimeter, you can see my little trailer that's next to my living quarters. And I was informed that when I chose to purchase in here, that I could have that trailer there. Now, it's not hooked up to anything. I use it for come and go. But I'm full-time, and so I'm not a snowbird. But I was told that I could park it there, and when I wanted to come and go and use the small trailer for camping somewhere else, I could do that. So that's my concern, that that could change. That would mean that would change my whole lifestyle.
it's not occupied, so
No.
yeah, so you would be fine. They don't want 2 of them that are occupied all the time, is the point on that, I believe. You can use it for company, but
So,
that's it.
I understand what you're saying, and that's good, but the verbiage then leaves it open. This board goes away, the next one reads just what's written in the bylaws, and then can go to somebody like him or somebody else that has 2 rigs on their property that been here forever. So if it's a matter of keeping it off the connections, the verbiage should be more specific, referring to as long as that second unit is maintaining the proper boundaries that they're supposed to have and is not hooked to the sewer, I think would simplify it and eliminate a lot of the questions.
Hold up a second, he's making a note. Hold on.
I'm a little confused. It seems like on one hand, you're saying that it has to be gone for 6 months out of the year. The other hand, you're saying it only can't be used for 6 months out of the year, which isn't. And another thing is, how are you going to monitor this? Is somebody going to go around and say, oh, somebody's staying in that trailer tonight, so that's a day? Or somebody spent a night in that trailer, so that's going to count as the 6 months? Or is it going to count as a month? How are you going to monitor this? It can be a real nightmare being able to say how many days it was used. And another thing, if
it's not use, it's how many days it's in the park.
Okay, so you're saying now that it's how many days it's in the park. So all these little trailers around like his, you're saying that's got to be gone for 6 months out of the year. And I know I walk this park all the time. There's probably a dozen of them in this park, some of them that haven't been moved in decades. There's one down across from the new bathhouse down there, that brown one. I remember that back in the 80s. And so you're saying, what you just said was that thing's got to be out of here 6 months out of the year, whether it's being used or not. So it needs some real clarification on that. And how are you going to monitor it?
Hold up a minute.
So I have to say, I think I agree with Kim on the
Hold up a
verbiage.
minute, just hold up a minute, please. Let Bill make his notes here before we leave. May run out of paper on that one.
I shorthand it.
When I'm reading what the change is, oops, sorry, I stopped my. It says here, an extra RV utilized for living may be brought in. So that's what they're talking about. That remains for 6 months. So if you're bringing in an RV for somebody to stay in, it can be here for 6 months. So it's not necessarily, if you have an RV that you're using that you take camp in and you park it there and somebody comes and spends the night, but that's your personal RV, that's not part of this. This is just somebody bringing their RV in and staying there and leaving it there for, that's the longest time they could leave it there, utilizing it for living, for them living there, so.
Okay.
I agree with the verbiage. I think the verbiage needs to be changed if we're talking about just parking it on a lot, then that should be the verbiage. If we're just allowing it to be parked rather than utilized for living. Because I don't think we should have a second one, utilized for living on the lots. No.
Then I'll say.
You writing notes? Not very many. I am. Yeah, good. I think they're good opinion.
I don't want to stand up. Yeah. Well,
I still haven't heard whether those places that he was talking about have to move after 6 months.
If it's your personal RV and you use it for camping, no, it does not have to move.
But we're not asking that. We're asking about the places that are there, that are, have been there for forever, and that 30 days when their family comes in the summer and they stay there, does that have to move after 6 months?
Aren't those all grandfathered in? Everything that's been there for a decade has been grandfathered.
Well, what if I brought one in because I wanted my family to stay for 30 days? I have a very small place. And really, I don't use as much water and sewer or electricity because I'm not here year-round. So even if I have a family come in for 30 days, I'm still not using as much as a year-round person. So I guess I'm trying to really figure out what you want. The grandfathered places aren't, but if I want to bring a place in and I had my family here and they left, but I left that RV on my lot through the winter, that wouldn't be acceptable.
If it's your lot and it meets the setbacks, yes. If it's your RV and it meets the setbacks,
It could stay there all year,
stay here. Yes,
just because it's empty.
yes. As long as it's licensed, current licensing.
Well, I agree, there needs to be some clarification on the wording.
I think we need to look into it and reword it.
Right.
That's why I'm taking notes down, so.
Good. If the intent is to meet the sewer connection requirement, then word it for that. And if it sounds like if a lot owner has their own trailer there, that's fine, but it's a guest bringing the guest's ownership RV, then that's what this is pertaining to, the 6 months and all that, correct? Yeah, I think a little clarification would go a long way.
Yeah.
But now, my question is about the licensing, since you just brought that up. It's my understanding that a trailer is a vehicle. So every trailer in here has to be licensed. Is that correct?
Unless it's permanent.
Unless it's permanent in here.
Yes, right. If it's parked on permanent in here.
Correct.
Okay.
So my trailer on my guest lot does not have current tags. It's not gonna move. It's permanent.
All right.
So everything that's grandfathered in permanently does not have to have current tags.
Is it connected to sewer?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I have 2 lots though. My second one is on my second lot. But what I'm saying is my trailer has a plate on the back, and it has not, since it's been put in permanent, it has not been licensed. Because it will not go onto the road. It can't.
So I have a comment. I think that these committees, I think this is a great idea, but it would be wonderful to have the committee members here to explain why they were adding this to the bylaw, to make it easier for all of us to see what their intention was when they were writing it. That was my first one. Now, what is my second? I forgot because everyone was saying it. And I guess my other one also, I cannot remember the other one, but yes, it'd be nice if we could ask the committee what their intent was. That's what I wanted to say. Remember, if you don't understand it or you don't agree with it, we can vote no. That was the other one. This is for us to vote, so we're trying to discuss it to understand why it's there. And then my other one was if it's a license, the board already has so much stuff to do. Now they're going to go and check every single lot to see if you're currently registered. your vehicle is currently registered. I don't think that's on safari. I think when you drive out of the park, we have people that are designated to make sure our vehicles are currently registered.
Go.
So I think their intent was to make sure that people don't buy lots, put all of their RVs here, and never use them, so that they don't have to pay for storage. That was one of the reasons, I believe.
Just a quick question. Will the board have a chance to be able to review some of the comments here? The board themselves possibly make some changes, and would we have enough time to be able to vote on that in September?
Yeah, we can hold it we can bring it up next year too, and reword everything, and then propose it for next year. So if you don't like it, vote no, and I'm taking a lot of notes down on what you guys are saying, and we can re-look into them, and we can propose them again next year.
Can we have some clarification on how we're charged for water and sewer? Like, I know you said it was metered, but you also said something about how many connections?
You're not billed directly for water and sewer. The association pays it. If you saw the budget, there was an item there for both of those. We get a bill every month from Long Beach City for water based on whatever we use. So if you don't use any or you use a ton, it makes no difference. We still have to pay the amount as an association. Our sewer is based on so much for every hookup that we have. We've got 322 lots, plus we got so many restrooms. That's how they bill us, so much for each connection. And again, you don't pay for those. The association pays for it. Your dues pay for that.
I know that. But the connections, so we pay a certain amount per connection.
We pay a certain amount per connection, correct?
And what is that amount? Is it per month?
No, well, it's 4,000 something, at least it used to be 4,000 something a year. I don't know what it's going up to. But then they break it out by month. They divide it by 12 and bill us each month.
Right, but so it's not a certain amount per,
It is, a certain amount per every connection.
okay.
And what they've done, because not all of our connections are used, some of us have multiple lots with nothing on them. I went to their board meeting about 6 years ago and asked them to consider the fact that we have a lot of people here that are on fixed incomes and the like. And so they have given us 12 free connections that they don't bill us for. And so far they kept doing that, so.
Okay, but is there a cost per connection?
Yes, it's about 48, I think it's like 4,800 a month, or a year. So you have about 330 connections. So it's expensive.
Okay, thank you.
I'd just like to say that this is a sensitive topic and we all have a lot of opinions. And I really appreciate how this discussion is being held friendly, differing sides, respecting each other, and that we're able to have this type of thing. So I appreciate that and appreciate the way that the membership has been handling this. And like they say, if you like it the way it is, vote yes. And if you don't, vote no at this point. Thank you.
Scared of me.
Got one. Yep. That's a long one. And it's the biggie. It's the ethics.
Okay, that's an easy one.
We're not doing that. Yeah. We got one more. This is why we didn't put up all of the proposed changes from the bylaws committee, because there was a lot of them. We have one more to go through, and it's a brand new one that they want added, and it is on ethics. There is no ethics in the bylaws. So they have, section 1 is, duty of integrity and good faith. All board members, employees, and independent contractors, covered persons shall act honestly, transparently, and in good faith in all matters involving the organization. Covered persons must conduct themselves in a manner that upholds the organization's mission, reputation, and the trust placed in them by the membership. Section 2, prohibition on personal benefits. Covered persons shall not use their position, access, or information obtained through the organization to secure personal benefits, financial gain, preferential treatment, or advantage for themselves, their family members, or any business or entity with which they are associated, unless expressly authorized in advance by a board after full disclosure. Section 3, conflict of interest. Any actual, potential, or perceived conflict of interest must be disclosed promptly and in writing to the board. Covered persons with a conflict shall abstain from voting, influencing, or participating in discussions related to that matter. Failure to disclose a conflict may result in disciplinary actions. Section 4, confidentiality. Covered persons shall maintain the confidentiality of non-public information obtained through their role and shall not disclose, share, or use such information except as required to carry out authorized duties or when legally compelled to do so. Section 5, prohibition on harassment, discrimination, and abuse of position. Covered persons shall treat all individuals with respect and shall not engage in discrimination, harassment, intimidation, retaliation, or any conduct that abuses the organizational position. Section 6, use of organizational resources. Assets, funds, records, property, and digital systems of the organization shall be used solely for legitimate organizational purposes. Unauthorized personnel use is prohibited. Section 7, representation in public statements. Covered persons shall not represent or speak on behalf of the organization or imply such authority unless explicitly authorized by the board. Personal opinions must not be presented as official organizational positions. Section 8, compliance with laws and policies. Covered persons shall comply with all applicable laws, regulations, internal policies, and bylaws. This includes obligations related to financial stewardship, procurement, safety, open meetings if applicable, and record keeping. Reporting misconduct, Section 9. Covered persons shall promptly report suspected violations of this ethics clause, misuse of organizational funds or property, fraud, conflicts of interest, and or unethical conduct to the board, retaliation against individuals who make good faith reports is strictly prohibited. Section 10, enforcement and remedies. Violations of this ethics clause may result in corrective actions, including suspension, removal from the board, termination of employment or contract, or the other remedies deemed appropriate by the board, provided that due process is afforded consistent with the organization's bylaws.
Would it be possible to have a vote on each change rather than all or nothing? Sort of like a reverse of a line item veto? So that,
That's the way it is.
pardon?
You vote on each change, so there's 4 different votes.
There's 4
Well,
changes.
that's the way it will be.
No, that's the way it is. I mean, yeah. That's the way it will be,
Yes.
That's the way it will be.
Oh, it will be. So
There's-
you
there's
could vote
4
for one and not the rest.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's 4 changes, so you have, Article 4, Section 5D, that's 1 vote.
Okay.
Section 6, Article 4, Section 6, that'll be a 2nd vote. Article 9, Section 5, that'll be a 3rd vote. And then Article 12, which is the ethics one we just read, will be the 4th vote. So
Okay.
there'll be 4 different ones to vote on.
Oh, thank you for the clarification.
Not just one for everything. Each one will be separate. Any comments from the floor? We're done with that.
Thank you very much.
Um,
You did a great job.
I would like to thank everybody.
Were you gonna say something?
I would like to know if they're gonna do anything about the people that are not keeping their mouths up. They're not mowing, they're not, they've got garbage in, they're burning garbage. And the one guy, takes his cars apart. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about.
We're working on it. We,
It's been that way, I've complained about it before, probably 3 years ago, I complained about it. He cleaned it up, and about a week or so later, it's right back where the work was.
yeah, I know which one you're talking about, and I'm working on getting that one.
And also, I have a neighbor that, insists on leaning his stuff up against my fence. And I've talked to him about it, and he doesn't, now he's got window broke in his yard, and he's got glass all over it. And, he doesn't do anything either. He just took a weed eater and run over it, all the grass and stuff like that.
We did do lot
Are you
inspe-
gonna do anything about those?
we did lot inspections in June and sent out emails to everybody. I sent out 122 emails
Okay.
to lots that needed cleaned up. They got their 30 days, and a lot of them were sending me emails back saying, well, I was just there and I cleaned it. Well, that was a week ago, and the grass does grow, the weeds grow. The bylaws state that you need to have your lot cleaned up by Memorial Weekend, and you also need to maintain your lot throughout the year.
Right.
So I got emails back, I started sending photos to them. This is what your lot looks like. That's why you got a letter stating that you need to clean up your lots. So we are following up with these lots that are not being
So are there
taken care of.
any penalties, or?
There will be fines assumed if they're not taken care of.
They will pay 'em? How are you gonna make them pay for that?
they get there's a process. If it's not done, they get fined. They don't pay their fine. Then it goes to the next step. There is a process.
Do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, go ahead.
When they get fined, when someone
You gotta
gets,
turn it on.
I can talk
Hold the
about
button
it, y'all
down.
can hear me.
Yeah, but the people at home can't hear you.
There you go.
How's that? How's that? Okay. A fine, when anyone gets fined, is no different than a dues invoice. They get billed for it. And once they're billed for that, it goes back to the bylaws. They have 30 days to pay. If they do not pay, they get a $50 late fee. If they do not pay again, they get, after another 30 days, it's a $50 late fee and the electrical meter removed. Anything like that just follows the bylaws. It's a real simple, it's 30 days, $50, 60 days, $50, and your electrical meter is removed. Another 30 days, and we start the termination of the membership. Once they're billed, they're in the system and the cycle's going. So if they refuse to pay, they will lose their membership in 90 days. I'm sorry? Yeah, it's as simple as that, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
No problem.
Okay, so we say it's as simple as that, and that is good, but I've been putting up with this one for like I've been here since 2019. And, it's just an ongoing thing, and then I mention it to you guys, you say, we're working on it. How much time do they have? This one person has 2 lots, so he cleans one, the other one's a mess. Cleans that, the other one's a mess. I mean, don't both of them have to be cleaned at the same time?
I would like to make a comment about this lot. He went out and he had a car sitting there that didn't run, sat there forever. And he went out and pressure washed it. And he cleaned it all up, and then he moved it around to the other side of one of the places. Now you got this big ground spot where the car sat. And he left a pressure washer sitting out there. And it sat out there for months. And then a couple weeks ago, I noticed he had the weed eater out, and he was weed eating that area. He weed eated around the pressure washer, and it still sits there. Now, that's the kind of stuff we look at, and it's so stupid.
And it's been going on for years.
Yeah, well, my understanding is site cleanup is not included in the bylaws, it's included in the rules of Safari. And it states 3 things: mow the grass, wash the trailer, and maintain. That's all that it states. That's all we have to do to have our sites legal. And so that needs to be changed.
We're working on changing the.
Yeah, because right now, you can have all your construction material sitting out there, you can have everything sitting out in the yard, just mow your grass and you're done.
Yes, we are working on getting that one changed. Yeah, but we are working on changing the site cleanup rules to be more specific and not vague because of how we want the park to look. So that is one thing on our agenda, is to go through that one specifically and make it more specific on what you can and cannot have.
That'll be a fun one to do.
Yeah.
Please wait another 6 months so we can get more stuff done before you tell us to take our construction off. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I know we're guilty. We're guilty. So we're in the process of it. So.
But okay, if there's nothing else, I would like to thank everybody for being gentle on us up here. We are a new board. We are trying to get things done. But I believe this meeting went really well. I was able to take a lot of notes down, and we'll go back and go through these recommended changes for the bylaws. We will do some rewording. That was what this was for. That's why we didn't change anything in it. We wanted your guys' input on what you felt needed to be changed and how it needed to be worded. So I'd like to thank you guys for being how do you say it? Simple, nice, gentle on the board. I do know that the bylaws state that we can make changes to it. We did not want to make changes. We wanted your guys' input on what changes needed to be made. So, thank you very much.
And
If you promise to stick around,
And you volunteered to help out.
we need volunteers to help out. What were you gonna say?
the one thing I was going to say, as far as like the bylaws go, if we're rewriting the bylaws, I think maybe the board of directors, we just need to look at how the processes work, how we do the process, and maybe like some people suggested, to maybe have it a little bit earlier so that we could get feedback and that type of thing. So if there are changes, we can make changes before the voting if we feel like we need to or not, so I think maybe we'll look at the process of how we're doing it at this point in time. Well, that's what I'm learning.